Class tonight is titled, Don't Be Afraid of Esau's Poisons. Don't be afraid of Esau's poisons. So I'm going to go over a couple of videos tonight, pointing out a few things. So first I want to start out with Jeremiah 50, 33, and 34. Jeremiah chapter 50. So it won't be too long. It won't be too long tonight. It won't be a real extremely long class, but it's important. It's important, but not too much. Ready?
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, verse 33. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go.
Okay, so the reason why I brought that scripture out is so that Israel won't think that, oh, this is only just the 3 tribes. It's just the southern kingdom. No, this applied to all 12 tribes of Israel. We were, like, even today, when you look at our communities, you will notice that there's more northern kingdom in our communities. The Most High put that spirit on them last couple of years, and then more of them started coming up and dwelling amongst where, like, for example, D.C. used to be known as Chocolate City. It was a so-called black city. Now that's no longer the case. Esau that came in and regentrificated everything, and now they up in there. But what I will say is that over the years, a lot of northern kingdom have come into the states, into Babylon to also live. That could be for 2 reasons. One, for them to get mocked, to wake up to the truth. And the other is to be put to death. It's 1 or 2. Because remember, what the prophecy say? 2/3 of Israel will be put to death, right? So we got to increase the numbers. And it's more of the 10 tribes than the 3. So anyway, but that's not the topic. So the topic is don't be afraid of Esau's poisons. So now what I want to go to is Genesis 25 and 23. Genesis 25 and 23.
The book of Genesis, chapter 25, verse 23. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels.
So 2 nations, 2 manner, meaning 2 different types of people, and they shall be separated. Read.
And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger.
So what I want to focus on is that one will be stronger than the other. So when you really look back and examine everything that the children of Israel have been through, those atrocities are, wow, they're crazy. They just over the top. No other nation have been through that, but yet we still here. We still trying to survive, still trying to strive, still trying to advance. Hell, even in the, I think it's like the 50s, 60s, you had all of these black inventors that made surgeries, heart surgery possible, brain surgery possible, refrigeration, all of these different things that hell, even the trip to the moon, black inventors was involved with that. So you got to think, one nation is always stronger. So that's Israel all day. Like, for example, let's use something small and carnal. The stock market, wealth. If Esau learns that they're used to being accustomed to a certain lifestyle, and they learn that they can't be in that lifestyle no more, a lot of them kill themselves. They kill themselves because they're not as mentally strong as Jake. That's just a fact. And it's to the fact that it's the way the Most High made us. That goes right back to Genesis 25. So now, let's get Deuteronomy 28, 45 through 48. So just to set the scene that, we in the land of our captivity.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 45. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed.
Read.
Because thou hearkenedest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which he commanded thee, and they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder.
Right. So we know that the curses are on our people. All of the atrocities, the slave trade, the yokes of iron, the slavery for 400 years, 300 to 400 years. And hell, we still in captivity today. The oppression that happens upon our people, all of these things are because we did what? It said right there in 45, is because we did not hearken unto the Lord thy God to keep his commandments and his statutes. So that's why all of these curses came upon us. And it says, 46 says it should be a sign. So it can't be denied that we are the children of Israel. Even though a lot of our brothers and sisters believe that we are Gentiles and we don't got to keep the laws because we're Gentiles, which is that deception that they believe, which is foolishness, because that goes all along with the laws are done away with. You don't have to keep the laws. Christianity. Madness. Anyway, read on. 47.
Verse 47. Because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart for the abundance of all things.
Read.
Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies.
So we do serve our enemies here in America. So you got to think, out of all of the nations on the earth, we are the only nation that has been completely conquered by the same nation and has been made to serve them, and we don't have a homeland to go to out of all the nations on the earth. The only one. It can't be denied. Read.
Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things.
Now, see, that's the point. And those are some of the topics I'm going to touch on tonight. That we got to serve our enemies for the want of all things. Hunger, thirst, for everything. Read.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee.
Hey, you want to know what in Christianity, the madness of that? Like this one verse right here, when you examine world history, so-called Amaleks never had yokes of iron upon their neck. That's nowhere recorded in history. Nowhere. But yet, they still don't see. That's that strong delusion that the Most High put on them. That's what that is. Like, remember, the Most High said that some of Israel were ordained from the beginning for damnation. That's their lot from the beginning. Can you imagine that? You born and you don't have a chance at getting the kingdom at all. Because you were already ordained to be the 2/3. That's crazy. That is wild. So it's just like Judas, for example. He was ordained to betray Christ from the beginning. That right there, oh, Lord, I don't want that lot. Man, but that's crazy. 2/3 already ordained from the beginning. Ah, man. You know what that is, y'all? You know what that is, soldier? No. Yeah. Yeah, let me get that. Because I just want to prove it. I just want to prove it before we move on.
The book of 1 Peter, chapter 2, verse 8. And a stone of stumbling and a rock of offense, even to them which stumble at the word, being disobedient, whereunto also they were appointed.
You see that thing? It says being disobedient, which they were appointed to. So think about this, because a lot of my Christian brothers and sisters believe that they don't have to keep the laws, right? But that means you are a disobedient child. You're being disobedient to your father. And it would read that again, soldier?
And a stone of stumbling.
Stone of stumbling mean they don't understand. They stumble at the word. Read.
And a rock of offense. Even to them which stumble at the word.
So Christ is a rock of offense for them. They like this. Nah, not my Jesus. You hear that all the time. Not my Jesus. Christ said keep the law, statutes, commandments. Not my Jesus. They don't understand that thing. Read.
Being disobedient.
Being disobedient children to the Father. Meaning we don't have to keep God's laws. I'm under grace. Well, wait a minute, brother. Romans 6:1 said, just because you're under grace don't mean you commit sin. No, brother, you don't understand. These dudes will, and all the Christians I've ever dealt with, they will lie through their teeth. They do the most damn lying. Read.
Whereunto also they were appointed.
They were appointed. You see that thing? You were appointed from the beginning. So that means you never had a chance at salvation. Damn. What? All right, let's get back to the topic. All right, so when we read Deuteronomy 28 and 48, it says that we shall serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things. So, two things I'm going to touch tonight, and we're going to go over, got a couple of videos, we're going to go over it. One is medicine and medical, the providing of medicines and medical services that Esau gives us. And the other one is foods that they give us. Those two things we're going to review today. So now, we're going to start with, y'all ready? This video, the U.S. medical system. Yeah, that one right there. Let's play that one. It's like 10 minutes. I don't know.
At the edge of Central Park in Manhattan, there's a bronze statue of a doctor named James Marion Sims, whose brilliant achievement carried the fame of American surgery throughout the entire world. He's the guy who created the vaginal speculum, an instrument gynecologists use for examination. He pioneered the surgical repair for fistula, a complication from childbirth, and became known as the father of modern gynecology. But that brilliant achievement was the result of a series of excruciating experimental surgeries that he conducted on enslaved women. In a lot of ways, Sims epitomizes the story of American medicine for Black women. It's a system that's failing them to this day. From infant mortality to life expectancy, the racial disparities in healthcare are staggering. The gulf between Black and white might be widest when we look at maternal mortality, with Black women 3 to 4 times more likely to die in connection with pregnancy or birth than white women. And that divide can be traced back to doctors like Sims, who contributed to a long, largely overlooked history of institutional racism in medicine.
Trying to understand a historical problem without knowing its history is like trying to treat a patient without eliciting a thorough medical history. You're doomed to failure.
That's Harriet Washington, a medical ethicist and author who chronicled the intersection of race and medicine in her book, Medical Apartheid. While many of the stark racial disparities in healthcare can be attributed to environmental and economic factors like access to good healthcare, studies show that minority patients tend to receive a lower quality of care than non-minorities, even when they have the same types of health insurance or the same ability to pay for care.
As African Americans, we've been abused for so long, consistently by the system. Why should we trust it? Why should we go to it when ill? And that's iatrophobia. That's a fear of the healer, inculcated by the behavior of those healers, unfortunately.
It starts with slavery. Doctors relied on slave owners for financial stability. They accompanied plantation masters to auctions to verify the fitness of slaves and were called in to treat sick slaves to protect their owners' investments. In 1807, Congress abolished the importation of slaves and in turn pushed black women to have more children, to essentially breed slaves. Founding Father Thomas Jefferson later wrote, "I consider a woman who brings a child every 2 years as more profitable than the best man on the farm." Around the 1830s, the abolitionist movement led to the rise of what was called Negro medicine, or efforts to identify black inferiority to justify slavery. And there were polygenists who tried to use both science and the Bible to find proof that races evolved from different origins. The 1830s also marked the beginning of recorded experimentation on black women's bodies. One doctor performed experimental C-sections on slaves. Another one perfected the dangerous ovariotomy, or removal of an ovary by testing the procedure on slave women. In fact, half the original articles in the 1836 Southern Medical and Surgical Journal dealt with experiments on black people. And then, of course, there was James Marion Sims, whose reputation is etched in history and on that statue in Central Park. Between 1845 and 1849, Sims began performing experimental surgeries on a 17-year-old slave named Anarcha. He eventually performed 30 operations on Anarcha and more surgeries on about 11 other female slaves. When his male colleagues could no longer bear to assist him in inflicting pain on the women, the slaves took turns restraining one another. Yet paintings depicting Sims, Anarcha, and other slave women presented a subdued version of his experiments. Even though anesthesia was introduced in 1846, Sims chose not to use it for his experimentation with slaves. His practices echoed one of the most prevalent and dangerous beliefs in medicine at the time, that black people did not feel pain or anxiety. This book from 1851, titled The Natural History of Human Species, claimed the American dark races bear with indifference tortures insupportable to a white man. Studies released as recently as last year demonstrate that black people are less likely to be treated for pain, particularly in the ER. There's even one from a children's hospital that found the same to be true for kids. And just this year, Pearson Education, a leading educational publisher, issued an apology and recalled nursing textbooks that included racist stereotypes, like this section that said black people often report higher pain intensity than other cultures.
Well, what does it mean when you say that someone doesn't feel pain? Among other things, you're speaking about their humanity. These are all part of that suite of beliefs emanating from the 19th century that we still have not shaken off. Despite all our knowledge and sophistication, they're deeply ingrained.
Doctors like Sims might fit the Dr. Frankenstein stereotype, but they weren't outliers. Historically, Southern doctors who used black bodies for troubling experiments were the norm.
It's a very common question. How can we judge our forebears? You know, those guys in the 18th century who practiced medicine in a way that appalls us today. You know, we think, how could you do that? I did not judge the practitioners based on our own ethics. I judged them based on the ethics of their time. It was not acceptable back then. We just did not hear from the people who protested against it.
After the Civil War ended, the 1900s brought a wave of immigrants to the U.S. It sparked a race panic and coincided with the birth of the American eugenics movement. One of the movement's key objectives was to reduce the childbearing potential of the poor and disabled. Leaders included birth control pioneer and Planned Parenthood founder Margaret Sanger, who eventually devised the controversial Negro Project, or family planning centers that pushed birth control in the Black South. It was a project that even garnered support from W.E.B. Du Bois, a founder of the NAACP, who wrote that black people bred carelessly and disastrously. By the mid-1930s, more than half the states passed pro-sterilization laws, and often sterilization was forced. In 1961, future civil rights leader Fannie Lou Hamer went to the hospital to have a tumor removed, but was subjected to a hysterectomy without consent. The procedure, which rendered women infertile without their knowledge, was so common in the South that Hamer is said to have dubbed it the Mississippi appendectomy.
African American babies were no longer economically valuable. And African Americans themselves had gone from being a resource to a nuisance.
In June of 1973, the SPLC uncovered 100 to 150,000 cases of women who had been sterilized with federal funds in Alabama. Half the women were black. In recent decades, women of color continue to be exposed to dubious reproductive health programs. In December 1990, the FDA approved a contraceptive called Norplant, and it was selectively marketed to black teenagers in Baltimore schools.
You know, one of the current birth control methods now in the United States is Norplant.
Norplant fans like David Duke, the former KKK Grand Wizard, even introduced legislation to give women on welfare an annual reward of $100 if they agreed to get Norplant.
And it's time we start to encourage welfare mothers to be responsible.
That bill never passed, but the implant ignited a debate on whether long-term contraception, like Norplant that lasted 5 years, could be used as a form of social engineering when pushed to specific communities. Today, as we continue to lose black mothers at alarming rates, a deeper look at the past may be a good step towards creating a more equitable healthcare system. Hi guys, thanks for watching. Of course,
that's it. All right, you see that thing, man? Crazy. They've been experimenting on our people for years. And that thing didn't even mention the Tuskegee experiments and all of this other stuff. So they've been doing this stuff for years. But you've noticed some of them videos was like from the 1990s. They still to this day targeting the Israelites to kill them off. That thing is nothing new. So remember what Deuteronomy 28 said. We got to serve our enemies for the wants of all things. So we want health care. Got to serve them. In the meantime, they trying to kill us off. We got to go to their facilities, and they really trying to kill us off. So now let's get the next video. How bad side effects? Yeah, this little skit. This is a little comical skit. How bad side effects? Yeah.
Back
right.
after this commercial break. Hey, do you have shoulder pain?
Yeah.
Do you wish that you could fix that shoulder pain?
Yeah.
And are you wearing a red hoodie?
Yeah.
Well, I think we have the product for you. A new shoulder pad that can fix it in only 5 minutes. All you have to do is place it on your shoulder and the pain will go right away. It will even make the shoulder even more stronger. You will be able to lift trucks, houses, anything. All you have to do is call the number at the bottom right and fix that shoulder today. Side effects may include drowsiness, dry mouth, headaches, insomnia, skin rash, fever, swelling, joint stiffness, suicidal thoughts, brain cancer, third-degree burns, listening to Iggy Azalea rap, a gunshot wound, 5 days in infinite Tsukuyomi, AIDS, stepping on a Lego, eating a Popeye's biscuit with no water, possibility of becoming mentally retarded, letting Mike Tyson close to your ear, R. Kelly coming to your daughter's birthday, heart failure, putting a band-aid on Magic Johnson's open wound, a cage match with The Undertaker, being tickled by Edward Scissorhands, playing hide and seek with John Cena, Trey Rags not uploading for a year, Donald Trump running for it.
Hey, so that's just a little skit showing that some of the medicines they give us are really poisons. Hey, now let's play the next skit. Actually, no, let's play the next video. It's called Prescription Drugs Side Effects. Now this is the real one. Start at 1 minute. Start at 1 minute to 126. Start at 1 minute. And just let it go to 126. So this is a real commercial.
Call your doctor if you have high fever, stiff muscles, and confusion to address a possible life-threatening condition, or if you have uncontrollable muscle movements, as these could become permanent. High blood sugar has been reported with Abilify and medicines like it. In some cases, extreme high blood sugar can lead to coma or death. Other risks include decreases in white blood cells, which can be serious, dizziness upon standing, seizures, trouble swallowing, and impaired judgment or motor skills.
Damn. So this is a medicine they're giving you. So now what I want you to do is Google define medicine. Just Google it, the definition of medicine. Because they got a lot of these different medicines out here that have so many side effects. It's really not a medicine, it's a poison. Read the definition. Pull it up.
Medicine, the science or practice of the diagnosis, treatment, and prevention of disease.
Read.
In technical use, often taken to exclude surgery.
So it's supposed to be a treatment that you can take to treat diseases without surgery, right? At least that's what the definition is saying, right? Okay. So now, when we just looked at a few medicines they give us that cause so many side effects that it's like a gamble. Is it really worth taking this? So it's really not a medicine by their definition. It's a poison. So now what I want to do is get Sirach 38 and 12. Sirach 38 and 12. Because remember, Deuteronomy 28 told us we got to serve our enemy. And our enemy has medicine, they call medicines out here that are really poisons. Because if it causes side effects where it makes me want to have suicidal thoughts, this is not a medicine. It is not helping me to be better. All right, read.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach, chapter 38, verse 12. Then give place to the physician, for the Lord hath created him.
Start the verse above it.
Sirach, chapter 38, verse 11. Give a sweet savor and a memorial of fine flour, and make a fat offering as not being.
Read on.
Verse 12. Then give place to the physician, for the Lord hath created him. Let him not go from thee, for thou hast need of him.
So the scriptures tell us, go to the physician when we have need of physician, right? Now get Genesis 1 and 29. Go to the physician. But now we seeing some videos, man. Out Esau, you go to the physician, he might sterilize you. You might go there for, you know what I'm saying, remove my kidneys, and he done sterilize you.
The book of Genesis, chapter 1, verse 29. And God said, behold, I have given you every herb-bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat.
Read on.
And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given you every green herb for meat. And it was so.
And it was so. So at one point in time, every beast and man was pretty much like vegetarians. But these vegetables and herbs was also our medicine. It really was our medicine. It would heal any sickness. Where we're not taking, like today, we taking poisons. Your aspirin that you take, your over-the-counter, there's certain things in it that's, some things is beneficial, but some things are not beneficial for you. So it's not really a medicine. Yeah, man, this joint is crazy. Esau been poisoning us for years. So now let's go into the other area in which Esau has been poisoning us. Go into food. Let's look into food. So now let's start with the video. Why grocery stores avoid black neighborhoods. Let's start with that one first. It's a couple of videos.
In the midst of a worldwide pandemic and raging protests against police brutality, there's another silent crisis wreaking havoc on America's most vulnerable communities.
We're going to skip
food deserts.
Like when we get to 1257, we're going to skip 1257 to 1314 because she started mentioning, the illness. So we're going to jump over that.
Like the food deserts are killing us.
If you go to the white people neighborhood, they got Marcus here, Marcus
Hey, this
there.
right here, that's in Baltimore. That's in Baltimore right there. This video's matter of fact, some of the footage they take is right at our Baltimore camp spot.
Healthy food is a racial and health equity issue.
The USDA defines a food desert as an area where at least a third of the population lives greater than 1 mile away from a supermarket for urban areas or greater than 10 miles for rural areas. It is typically located in an area with higher levels of poverty, where residents have limited access to healthy and affordable food. And many of these families also do not own a vehicle. So getting to a well-stocked, full-service grocery store on a regular basis can be very difficult. By these metrics, about 19 million people in America live in a food desert. And Johns Hopkins research shows that food deserts disproportionately affect people of color. Food deserts can be detrimental to its residents' health. I grew up living in a food desert myself in Baltimore. There were absolutely no grocery stores, pharmacies, or retail stores within miles of the area I lived in. We either ate processed food or we bought junk food at the nearest corner store.
Stop. So now, processed food or junk food, does it give you health and nourishment to your body? It's a poison. It's to kill you off. Like that's why the title of the class is "Don't Be Afraid of Esau's Poison," because this dude been poisoning you for years, since childbirth. Play on.
With the combination of poor diet and other factors, the people in my household had chronic illnesses, and one even passed away prematurely because of it. The term food deserts became popularized in public policy around 2010 when Michelle Obama introduced the Let's Move campaign with the goal of eliminating food deserts within 7 years. So why are some of the biggest names in America's grocery store business refusing to set up shop in communities where there's not only a dire need, but a huge consumer base?
In other words, they're saying Negroes spend a lot of money. So why aren't these stores setting up in these communities? Let's play it on.
It's hard to pinpoint exactly when and how food deserts developed, but most scholars agree that its origins can be traced back to the 1960s. Post-World War II, an increase in car production along with a housing shortage led to new developments in the suburbs. In 1956, Congress passed the National Interstate and Defense Highway Act, and the interstate system was expanded by 41,000 miles across the nation. During that time, the number of supermarkets more than doubled from 14,000 in 1950 to 33,000 in 1960. In his book, The Color of Law, author Richard Rothstein explains how discriminatory housing practices dating back to the 1930s paved the way for a phenomenon called white flight, where middle-class white families moved to suburban areas. Many businesses, including grocery stores, followed suit, while African Americans and other people of color were often left behind in underserved communities.
There's an increase in poverty in urban areas in the 1980s, with many industrial jobs leaving urban areas for rural areas and also for overseas. So these demographic shifts led to urban areas with extreme geographically concentrated social disadvantage. And in those areas of extreme geographically concentrated social disadvantage, investments are very sparse for both the public sector and the private sector.
According to the United States Department of Agriculture, there were more than 6,500 food deserts in the U.S. between 2000 and 2006, and more than 60 of those were located in urban areas. Despite decades of awareness of the disparity in Americans' access to food, the problem still persists today, fomented by economic and residential segregation. So why have grocery stores, big and small, remained so resistant to invest in these underserved communities?
There's increased costs for opening up a business in areas without a lot of existing investments in those communities. It's harder to secure loans, and there's higher insurance rates. And moreover, even if you account for average income of a neighborhood, it's harder to secure loans for businesses opening up in predominantly African-American neighborhoods.
What?
And then trying to get big commercial developers to invest in underserved communities, that's even harder.
The barrier to entry for small businesses in predominantly Black neighborhoods is not always an easy fix.
So they set it up
Experts
where you can't even open up your own businesses. They make it so difficult for you. He's saying that even big stores is difficult. They got to go through a lot even to open up stores in Black neighborhoods. So now that makes it even more challenging to Black businesses that want to open up in their own neighborhoods. Damn. Esau and their system. Love to play on.
NBC, that economic development policies tend to not focus on areas with the highest need, but rather areas with the highest potential for growth.
Potential for growth. That's when they regentrifying. That's what that is.
$100 billion business with more than 41,000 supermarkets and grocery stores in the U.S. as of 2020. Walmart is a food retail juggernaut. The company has more than 4,500 stores in the U.S., and more than half of its sales come from groceries, $190 billion in 2019 alone.
First Lady Michelle Obama is helping millions of Americans lead healthier lives, and Walmart is proud to partner with her in this effort.
In 2011, the company announced it would open between 275 and 300 new stores in urban and rural food deserts, serving 800,000 people by the end of 2016.
And you know the crazy part is when you look at where, at least for brothers and sisters that's familiar with the city, when you look at areas where Walmart opened up or there's markets that popped up, these are areas that they regentrified. They're no longer Black neighborhoods. Because you see that in the city, right? Yes, yeah. Dang. They put a Walmart in the area that they didn't already regentrified. So see, they talk about some, oh yeah, we're going to partner with Michelle Obama to change the food deserts so we can help Black people after we clear them out. Damn. Play on, bro.
Actually exceeded that quota, opening a total of 442 stores in a 5-year time period. However, during that same time frame, Walmart also closed some of its U.S. locations in low-income neighborhoods. In 2016, Walmart announced its plan to close 154 U.S. locations, and according to a report from the Washington Post, these closures disproportionately affected lower-income areas. Out of the 154 closures, 121 of the stores were in neighborhoods where the median household income fell below the national average of $54,000. Walmart declined to comment on the article.
So the crazy part is, remember, now Walmart is a department store where you can get good-sized quantities at a low price, right? So ideally, that would be great for the lower class. And they said, nah, we taking that out of your neighborhood. That ain't for you, Negroes. That's crazy, bruh. Hey, play on.
away Walmart, and there was no warning.
So
or
she's
option.
saying that she's a Baltimore resident. I don't know what area she's in, but she's not in the city for sure. Not right in the midst, because the city looks way different than that. But she's probably in the county. But she's saying that, you know, they took a Walmart from up there, which I don't remember, but play on. Said what? Orange Mills? Oh, okay. Okay. Damn. That's actually a very flourishing area. Oh, so they targeted our communities.
It's funny because behind the Walmart was a Sam's, and then the Walmart was on the other side. So they closed the Sam's first, and then they closed the Walmart.
Oh, damn. They didn't even tell the employees.
Also at Mondawmin Mall, it used to be a Target there. It was only open for like 4 to 5 years, and then they closed it. Now, years ago, I used to work at the Target in Owens Mills. That Target at Mondawmin made like 3 times the money the one in Owens Mills made, which was about 3 miles from the Walmart, but it was closer to where mostly Caucasian people live, the Target. But the Mondawmin the Mondawmin Target, it was by Coppin University and all that, so it got a lot of traffic. And also it's in walking distance to a lot of people that has like little townhomes and stuff like that. They made probably like $150,000 a day, and that's a regular day. Because I used to run the logistics team for the other Target, so we was always in like competition. They closed it because of security reasons.
Negroes
It was a high-risk area. That's what they said. That's why they closed it.
Damn. Boy, I tell you, Esau and his sister. Hey, but see, this is the enemy that we serve, though. This dude, I'm telling you, man, this dude has been doing much evil in the earth. Remember, the scriptures tell us the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Play on. Play on. Play on.
And there was no warning or option.
Hey, that's what you were saying. No warning. They just closed it.
Like, if you're going to take away something, why not replace with something else? Like, if the city knew that they were going to take away Walmart, why not bring a farmer's market to the neighborhood and have the farmer's market there, you know, every day of the summer for 2 hours, or be more consistent with options that are here? Something could have been done on the part of the city, as well as on the part of the big corporations that are coming in and taking away our food options.
Kroger, America's largest supermarket chain, has also drawn the ire of some customers. In 2019, the company had sales of $122 billion. But critics allege those profits have come at the expense of servicing communities in need. One flashpoint came in 2017 when Kroger decided to close 41 of its 2,800 stores. The Reverend Jesse Jackson called for a national boycott of Kroger locations, claiming that these shutdowns targeted minority neighborhoods. In a statement given to USA Today at the time, Kroger said, quote, "Because we operate a penny profit business, we must sometimes make tough decisions in order to keep our prices low for all customers." In one of its Cincinnati locations, for example, the company claimed that out of the store's 34 years of operation, more than 20 of those were unprofitable. It added that the stores were projected to lose another $900,000 if it stayed open that year. Building grocery stores in low-income neighborhoods come with other complications too.
One of the challenges as public policy changes on both sides of the aisles, like conservatives want to cut back on SNAP, it's a killer to food desert supermarkets. On the other hand, you see some more liberal cities doing things like beverage taxes or
Is it
other use
liberal
taxes,
cities?
which really are a tax on the poor. Now, as far as opportunity, there could be as many as 1,000 supermarkets the country could accommodate. And that could be a multi-billion-dollar business to open those supermarkets. But honestly, if you looked at the history of it, as public policy ignores this problem, it damages this effort on both sides of the aisle.
And even in the best conditions, grocery stores are generally considered to be cash and debt intensive and only marginally profitable by about 1 to 2%.
On average, what we discovered, if a supermarket normally makes 1% of sales as a bottom line profit, we're finding that the food desert stores lose 4%. And so there's a 5% gap, and that's the challenge. And we use public-private financing to mitigate about half that gap.
While grocery stores largely remain elusive in many of America's food deserts, dollar stores have proliferated. Dollar stores tend to target underserved urban communities that lack full-service grocery stores, and their footprint is on the rise in the U.S. Dollar Tree and Dollar General have expanded 50% since 2011, and the two chains have indicated that they have plans for an additional 20,000 outlets. But the problem with dollar stores is that they rarely ever offer fresh produce. Instead, think processed goods that have long shelf life, like cookies and canned meats.
There are really no viable food options. And it's crazy to me because people that live literally 3 to 5 miles away have 2 grocery stores, and that just so happens to be in a white neighborhood. Why is it that they have options and I don't? And just because I don't have the money that they have doesn't mean that I shouldn't have the access to food that they have. So this is a convenience store that is pretty close to my mom's house. And it's one of the only options that we have for food and groceries. They don't have any fresh food. They have a lot of canned and processed stuff. It's not the best, but it's kind of like all we have in this community.
When it comes to having healthy food options, low-income communities of color have suffered for decades as fresh and affordable food options fled their neighborhoods. In areas where grocery stores are scarce, fast food, carry-out, and corner stores may be the only food access option. Like the dollar store, corner stores typically stock highly processed foods and rarely ever offer fresh produce. Research has linked a poor diet to a range of health issues like high blood pressure, heart disease, diabetes, and cancer. An analysis from the Center for Disease Control and Prevention indicate that these conditions disproportionately affect African Americans.
So we care about food insecurity from a public health perspective for a lot of different reasons. One is that, as we've talked about, it's very common. So right now it's affecting about a quarter of all Americans, with higher rates among Black, Hispanic, and low-income populations, and it's expensive. So we're spending about $78 billion to address food insecurity through annual healthcare costs. And it's also the case that if you're food insecure, then you often forego basic needs because you want to purchase food. So people forego things like medications or medical visits, which are obviously very important to health.
Communities that have poor access to food also tend to suffer from higher mortality rates.
Oh, yeah. Skip it, because she starts going into the pandemic.
Right. And what's crazy is when they say the Dollar Trees, when you examine our communities, the Dollar Tree, you don't never see a Dollar Tree in Georgetown or Adams Morgan. It's only where our people live. Yep. That's what's crazy, man.
Yep, that's true. And if you notice, the Dollar Trees, they didn't used to sell food. They maybe had some candy, but they didn't have like bologna. They didn't have a freezer section, let's put it like that. But now they do. They got a freezer section. So now some people actually get some of their groceries from the Dollar Tree because it's affordable. And like she's saying, this food deserts, they don't have access to a lot of stuff. Like, what happened to farmers markets and all that used to be in the Black communities? Them things just disappeared. All right, bro. Go ahead. You ready? Yeah. Jump up to 1314. Yeah, 1314.
Food deserts became a hot topic in American public policy in 2010 when First Lady Michelle Obama launched the Let's Move campaign in order to tackle childhood obesity by providing healthier food in schools, ensuring families have access to nutritious, affordable food, and by helping children become more physically active. That same year, the Obama administration unveiled a new part of Let's Move, the Healthy Food Financing Initiative, a multi-million-dollar public and private investment designed to eliminate food deserts in America within 7 years.
With a modest initial investment of about $400 million a year, we're going to use that money to leverage hundreds of millions of more from private and nonprofit sectors to bring grocery stores and other healthy food retailers to underserved communities all across this country. If you can do it here, we can do it around the country.
As part of that campaign, Michelle Obama announced nationwide commitments from major food retailers like Walmart, Walgreens, and SuperValue to either open or expand 1,500 stores nationwide to help provide healthy, affordable food to millions of people in underserved areas. But in practice, critics say the program fell short. A report from the Associated Press in 2015 showed that even by their own count, the participating grocers had fallen far short of the goal to open or expand 1,500 stores in food deserts. The Partnership for a Healthier America is a nonprofit that was created in tandem with the Let's Move campaign to help broker commitments from partner institutions. According to its 2019 progress report, 848 stores were built or renovated in food deserts by 2016, which was roughly half of that goal to open or expand 1,500 new locations. We reached out to Walmart, Walgreens, Kroger, and SuperValue. Walmart declined to participate, and Kroger hasn't gotten back to us. UNFI, which acquired SuperValue in 2018, did not respond to requests for an interview. Walgreens committed to convert 1,000 stores into food oasis stores. We reached out to the company to ask how many they had converted, and they weren't able to confirm the number of stores. They did say, "We expanded our offering of fresh foods, including fruits and vegetables, at hundreds of Walgreens stores located in and around food deserts."
Hey, so now your drugstore is going to have fruits and bananas up in there. What the hell? You know what I'm saying? Come on. So they can meet a quota or an agenda saying, hey, we are trying to help out the Negro, which we're helping them out. We got some rotten bananas up in the pharmacy. They can get those. Play on.
The Obama administration also faced scrutiny in 2014 for slashing funding from the SNAP program, commonly known as food stamps. In 2019, the Trump administration also proposed cuts to food stamps. But after heavy criticism and a legal challenge, the White House decided to pump the brakes on this effort. Ironically, decades of research has shown that the SNAP program is one of the most effective tools the government has against food insecurity. A recent analysis from Yale suggests that allowing more SNAP recipients to turn to online grocery delivery could mean healthier options for households in food deserts. Nevertheless, the Let's Move campaign was a jumping point for the food access debate in America, and since then, policies have been enacted at the federal, state, and local level to improve poor food environments. Many states have made strides in improving food access in their own communities. For example, the Pennsylvania Fresh Food Initiative has provided $147 million in public funds and private investment to combat limited store access in underserved urban and rural communities across the state. The initiative created over 88 supermarkets and other fresh food retail across Pennsylvania. Other states have launched financing initiatives with the help of federal funding, including New York, Maryland, California, and Michigan, to name a few. Between 2011 and 2015, the Healthy Food Financing Initiative leveraged over $1 billion in grants, loans, federal tax incentives, and investments from financial, healthcare, and philanthropic institutions to finance more than 200 fresh food projects. Although federally funded initiatives have shown some progress over the years, some individuals are taking matters into their own hands. After experiencing food insecurity herself, Mary Blackford decided to build a food hall aimed at tackling food deserts in DC's most underserved communities.
In Ward 7, there is not a lot of places to get the sort of foods that I need to nourish myself. So I found myself going across the city or into H Street corridor to get these groceries, but that was costing me $8 to $10 a Lyft ride or Uber ride one way. And I said, hey, is everybody dealing with this same issue? And I found that they were. And so I wanted to advocate more and more for how can we get another grocery store or some small market or something.
But even with the rise of homegrown efforts such as this, nonprofit organizations say they still need more resources.
Charity and food banks have a role, but we are facing a problem of tremendous scale. And the federal food programs are the tool that we have to address this program at scale.
Some experts say.
So hold on. Hey, they put that up. That's regentified though. That's a giant they put up on 8th Street. That's regentified. They regentified the area where now Esau lives over there. But they saying that a part of their solutions is the food banks. Instead of you opening up a damn grocery store, you in the black communities, you decide we gonna get them food bank boxes. We dictate what they get of food per week. That's what they do with the food bank boxes. They pretty much give you so much food. They give you, what is the food, all the fruits, grains, and all that. But they give it to you for like a week. I think it lasts for, depending on your family size, it might last a week. So you got to go back. So that's their solution instead of building a damn grocery store. Go ahead, Austin.
Let's get Nehemiah 9 and verse 36. Because what the officer is showing us that this so-called white man, he don't care nothing about us. We used to teach on 8th and H too, but it got so gentrified we had to move. Nehemiah 9 and 36.
The book of Nehemiah, chapter 9, verse 36. Behold, we are servants this day, and for the land that thou gavest unto our fathers to eat the fruit thereof and the good thereof. Behold, we are servants in it.
Right, so we got to understand the Lord said wherever we set the sole of our feet on, he gave that to us. The whole world was made for the nation of Israel. Thus saith the Lord. Read.
And it yielded much increase unto the kings whom thou hast set over us because of our sins.
Right, because the secret ingredient is the commandments of God. That's why we're in this predicament today, because we did not want to keep the commandments. Read.
Also, they have dominion over our bodies.
Right, we got to serve them for the want of all things. They have dominion over our bodies. Read.
And over our cattle at their pleasure, and we are in great distress.
Right, we're in great distress. You got to take the jab. If you don't, you get fired. You know, they telling the animals they got to get the vaccine too now. It's crazy, man.
Yep, that's why that thing said they have dominion over your bodies. So just imagine you was living in China. You don't have a choice. They lining you up. Get this. Hey, remember, and Bishop brought out the prophecy about the army of the north. Believe you me, this country is changing. When the army in the north is in full effect, they're going to persecute and oppress Israel. You're not going to have a choice. So if they decide they want to do something to the population, the army of the north won't enforce it. It's either you comply or you getting put to death. Because when you remember when Bishop brought it out, said that the Most High had to remove the army of the north from oppressing the children of Israel and sent them over to the Middle East for war. But that means they was oppressing. Why is it that this army of the north become a burden? Because they started to oppress the people. And if you notice, America's shifting from being a freedom of speech, freedom to do what you will, a government to no, you need to do this. You can't say this. You can't do this. So it's like your freedom of speech is starting to go away. The freedom to take what meds you want and stuff is starting to go away. They're changing into a communist country. Slowly but surely. It's slowly migrating. You can see it. You can see it how they move. And it's just a matter of time. Was that it? That's all. That's everything on the video? Oh, no, we stopped it. Yeah, go ahead and finish up. It's kind of long. It's like 20, 25 minutes. But there's some good information in it. And I want to pull up that article right after this because I forgot to mention this for the medicines, the one that I posted up in the beginning.
If you open a grocery store in a community that technically qualifies as a food desert, the eating habits of its residents will not necessarily change.
If you go back over the last decade or two, it's often presumed that food deserts exist because of, I'm an economist, so I'm going to use economics to frame how I think about it. They usually think that it's a supply side issue. Where's the grocery store? Why isn't a grocery store located in this particular neighborhood? But that presumes the answer. There could also be demand side factors, factors on the individual level.
In 2016, the USDA published a report suggesting that residents who live in food deserts still choose to eat unhealthy foods, even when given the opportunity to shop at a full-service grocery store, because of a variety of factors, including household and neighborhood resources, education, and taste preferences. Research out of Stanford University estimated that only about 10% of the nutritional gap between the rich and the poor is due to an inadequate supply of healthy food, and that 90% actually has to do with customer demand. But advocates fighting food insecurity in the US say that equitable access to healthy food options is non-negotiable.
To think for half a second that people are willfully deciding not to eat or not to eat healthy is crazy. I think people think just because there's a McDonald's or a Popeyes, and those places, trust me, I love some Popeyes every now and then, but I have a choice that fast food or fast delis are appropriate just makes me insane because it is just incredibly insensitive. Come and look. I have had grocery stores, I've gone into grocery stores in poor neighborhoods when the fruits and vegetables are brown like me. I absolutely believe we still deserve a choice.
Another concern regarding demand, some residents are actually against the introduction of supermarkets like Trader Joe's and Whole Foods in their neighborhoods because they tend to lead to the gentrification of that area, a phenomenon where low-income residents are displaced when the monetary value of the community rises and residents can no longer afford to own or rent property. In 2014, Trader Joe's decided to pull out of development plans in a majority Black neighborhood in Northeast Portland after residents vehemently protested its opening. The Portland African American Leadership Forum wrote a letter arguing that a Trader Joe's would attract a non-oppressed population and further displace low-income and Black residents. The median income of households in counties with a Trader Joe's is about $63,000 and $62,000 for counties with the Whole Foods. A 2016 study by real estate site Zillow found a strong correlation between a housing market and its local grocery store. Homes grow more rapidly in value when they are in close proximity to a Trader Joe's or Whole Foods. The study found that after a Trader Joe's opens in a neighborhood, homes within a mile of the store had appreciated 10 percentage points more than the average rate, and homes within a mile of either store were also worth twice as much as the median home value in the rest of the US. Trader Joe's and Whole Foods declined requests to comment on this video. Food insecurity remains a big topic in public policy, and is still an issue.
Hey, so that means to fix Baltimore, they just got to put a Trader Joe's in the middle. What? Yeah. Bro, this is crazy, bro. Esau and his system, this is crazy. Hey, that's enough on that. That's enough on that because, man, this video is kind of long. But, hey, put up the article because going back into medicine, put up there, it's a site, actually. Yeah. Put that up. So now, it says childhood vaccination schedule in 2020. So now, that's why I was saying, don't be afraid of Esau's poisoning because he's been poisoning you since birth. How many shots does a newborn baby get? So let's scroll down. Hey, they've been loading us up because everybody in here from birth, you know what I'm saying? You done got all of them damn shots and vaccines and all of that. So let's look at a few of these things. So now, say, how many vaccines do a child get scheduled? Do I want this one? Yeah. Scroll down some more. Hold on. A little bit more. Oh, here we go. No, not that one. Go down. Recommended immunization for children of 0 to 18 months. Go ahead, soldier. Yeah, right there.
An overview of immunizations for newborns to 18-month-olds.
Yeah, just go down the list of the actual shots that's given before 18 months.
Hep B, rotavirus, DTAP.
And half of these you don't know what the hell they are.
Diphtheria, tetanus, and pertussis vaccine. Requires 5 doses, etc.
Damn, requires 5 doses though. So guess what? You a child, and actually this is increased. So they give you more shots now than they did back in like the early 90s, 80s. You get more shots now. Like they got that, what is it, HPV or whatever. They didn't get that to the kids when back in the 90s and 80s. Keep on going, bro.
HIV, Haemophilus influenza type B vaccine, PCV, pneumococcal vaccine, IPV, poliovirus vaccine, MMR, measles, mumps, rubella.
Yeah, I know about that one. That's about it, though.
Varicella, the chickenpox vaccine, Hep A, hepatitis A.
So now, when I was a young child, you got chickenpox. That was like a normal thing. Now, you don't really see that amongst kids. So that means what? When they're born, they giving them these shots before they're 18 months. So Esau has been poisoning us because it's not a medicine. It ain't curing you. They've been poisoning you since your birth. You've been getting poisoned through the medications they give you, the health services they give you, the foods they feed you. You've been slowly getting poisoned. Think about that. Some of the foods that you eat have things in it that cause cancer. Now, you got to come to them for medicines to treat the cancer that they've given you food which created the cancer. See, that thing is madness, bruh. But they've been poisoning us for years. So that's just, hey, put it back up, because that's just up to 18 months. It's more. So now look at the next age group.
An overview of immunizations of kids ages 4 to 6.
Scroll down right there. So you got more shots coming.
Diphtheria, tetanus, and pertussis vaccine, IPV, poliovirus vaccine, Measles, mumps, rubella, varicella.
So it's like, wait a minute, didn't I get that when I was a baby? What the hell? Keep on going. 11 to 12-year-olds. Now, these are some of the new ones.
Recommended immunizations for children ages 11 to 12 years old.
So now, even though they say it's recommended, guess what? When you take your child to the doctor, what is the doctor trying to push on your child? These things.
Tdap, tetanus, diphtheria, pertussive immunity.
What? I've never heard of that, though.
CWY, meningococcal vaccine. Let's see.
They just making stuff up, man.
Yeah, bro. It's like, what the hell?
That's for meningitis, I think. HPV.
See, HPV. What is that for?
Human papillomavirus vaccine.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, that stuff, they wasn't giving that to the kids when back in the 80s. They wasn't giving that to them in the early 90s. They wasn't giving that to them. But today, you have a child, they giving you all of this stuff. They've been poisoning the kids. So now you even got more shots, 16 to 18. I never remember getting a shot when I was a teenager. But now, guess what? They recommended shots for you. So, and that's today's vaccines that they give to supposedly for the health of the child. So now, let's go back to the foods. So now so remember, we just went over food deserts. And how healthy options are not available in black communities. So now, play the next video, top 10 fake foods. Yeah, we're only going to play, start at 35 seconds and go to 350. Yeah, because he be running his mouth a lot. I don't want to hear all that. This dude just get to the point. He do the intros.
Not get run over and go shopping.
See?
They didn't have any sushi at Walmart, but many grocery stores have them. And I'm sorry to say that sushi is one of the fakest foods in the country. If you order at a restaurant, if you order in, you're most likely getting fake sushi. In fact,
Hold on, wouldn't that be considered a healthy option? Damn. Go ahead and let him explain what he's saying, because he's going to elaborate on it.
Order at a restaurant, if you order in, you're most likely getting fake sushi. In fact, there was a study done a few years ago in New York City. They ordered sushi from every single restaurant, and 100% came back fake. It's called fish swapping. You order one type of fish, and you get a cheaper one that's usually not only cheaper, but worse for you. One of the biggest
cutting
offenders
costs.
is something.
So they're not giving you the fish that the sushi's supposed to be made with. They give you a lesser quality, poorer quality fish. Go ahead.
Something called white tuna. I don't see it here. This is ahi tuna. But if you've ever ordered super white tuna, there's no such thing as white tuna. It's actually a South American fish called escalar that's way cheaper and is known to cause gastrointestinal issues. Don't order that.
Whoa, wait a minute. So it's known to give you an illness. Damn. All right, let it play.
That's way cheaper and is known to cause gastrointestinal issues. Don't order that. I also have issues with a lot of salmon, because all salmon from any sushi place is almost always going to be farmed salmon. Farm salmon can vary in quality depending on where you get it, and some farming practices can be really, really bad. The thing is, the smaller it is and the more minced up it is, the more mystery it can be. So if you're going to eat sushi, you want to get bigger pieces like this, and even something like this. I know that's tuna, but tuna to me is a big fish, generally older, tends to be a high mercury, high heavy metal fish. The only one that rated 100% accurate was a Nobu, but Nobu is ungodly expensive. Unless you know of a small local place that has really high quality sushi and they know where they get it, you're getting fake sushi, you're paying top dollar for it, and it usually is a much cheaper fish than you ordered. You may have heard me say in the past never to buy or give your kids these kinds of juices. That's because they're from concentrate and they're highly pasteurized, and I'll tell you why that's bad. But also, a lot of these apple juice concentrates, including ones you know and love, are from sources you might not know, like, here we go, it's very hard to see and they do that on purpose, concentrate from USA, Poland, and China, which is very, very surprising, but actually China supplies 90% of the apple juice concentrate to the world. And the problem with that is that China has a lot of issues with quality. Number one, there was like 6 or 7 years ago, they were caught using apples that were rotten and spoiled, but Chinese farming is not regulated like it is here in the States, meaning they can use
but it's on American shells though.
water for the farming. Oftentimes the farmland and the soil is tainted with heavy metals, which can raise stuff like lead and arsenic. You want to avoid that kind of stuff, and you don't want to give your kids anything but apple juice concentrate from China. The funny thing is, if you go to this brand right here, the Great Value Walmart brand, this is actually not from concentrate, which is what you want, and it's made here with 100% US grown apples. This is something I still wouldn't give my kid because it's highly pasteurized, but at least it's not from concentrate. It's from the good old USA. And even other brands here, it's just super weird. I mean, this one here is from Argentina, Chile, Turkey, or Ukraine. So while it might not have the same problems as China, try to find USA apple juice, and better yet, I'd get something that was not highly pasteurized. I would get something cold pressed or fresh. It's gonna have more living nutrients in there. A lot of folks ask me what I think about.
All right, that's it. This dude he got a whole thing. He goes over all the different groceries, but at the end of the day, we ain't gonna be able to afford some of the stuff he's talking about. But what he's showing is that some of the things that you're thinking you're buying and say, hey, this is a healthy option, you come to find out, no, it's not. No, it's not. Play the next video. What the FDA allows in food. You gotta read this one, bro.
You probably don't want to eat insect heads and rodent droppings.
Read.
But you're likely consuming them anyways. It's the inevitable side effect of food processing, but don't worry, you're not downing tons of it. The FDA has placed a limit on how much it considers safe. These not so tasty additions are called defects. You can keep it rolling. I'll try to roll with it. Here are just some you can expect in your food. Ground cinnamon. Defect, insect body parts, legs, arms, etc. Amount, 400. I missed it.
Yeah, you got to slow it down with that one. Go back.
Amount, 400 parts per 50 grams of cinnamon. Insect body parts, legs, arms, etc. Food, whole ginger. Defect, rodent poop. Amount, 3 milligrams per pound of ginger. Food, salt cured olives. Defect, mold. Amount, 25% of olives in a sample by weight are moldy. Food, cornmeal. Defect, rodent hair. Amount, 1 average rodent hair per 25 grams.
You can't get away from the curses, buddy.
Food, fig paste. Defect, insect heads. Amount, 13 or more per 3.5 ounces of fig paste. Food, canned mushrooms. Defect, mites. Amount, 75 mites per 3.5 ounces of mushrooms. Food, canned tomatoes. Defect, maggots. Amount, 2 or more maggots per 17.6 ounces.
Hey, Officer Phinehas gonna have us not eating nothing after this class, man.
Visit the FDA's defect levels handbook to know more.
Yeah. Hey, that's what our lovely FDA allows in your foods because it's processed. Mostly all of your food is processed. That's why. Let's get that verse. Let's get that verse in Ezekiel 4:13. Man, and then after that, I still got like 2 other little short videos, and then we want to get to the premise and wrap it up.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 4, verse 13. And the Lord said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles, whither I will drive them.
You see that thing? The Most High said, you going to eat your defiled bread amongst the heathens that I drive you to. So there is, even though we might try our best to, keep a diet that's healthy, non-processed, the Most High said, it's still going to be defiled. It's still going to be defiled.
So the vegetarians still eating defiled food?
Hell yeah. Hell to the yeah. Hey, Esau guaranteed that thing. He said, you want to be a vegan? I still got a servant for you. Damn. That's crazy, bro. All right, then let's go to the next video. Plastics in food. I'm telling you, man, Esau has been poisoning us from our birth. We've been getting poisoned.
Did you know that high-end plastic tea bags can release over 11 billion microplastic particles into hot water? Plastic in my drink? No thank you. Microplastics are defined as small pieces of plastic debris that are less than 5 millimeters in length. These can be invisible to the naked eye, by the way. We use and discard so much plastic into the world and waterways that it finds its way into our food chain. Scientists are still trying to figure out the health effects of microplastics on our bodies, but studies suggest that microplastics can create toxicity within the organs and tissues, and even increase the risk of cancer. Now, I love tea so much, so I started thinking, what other daily foods are being polluted with plastic? Let's look around my kitchen and find out, and see what we can do to avoid them. Let's start with tea bags because there's more to it than the crazy number up top. Premium tea bags, like this one, that are sealed in a plastic mesh pyramid, can also release approximately 3 billion nano and over 11 billion micro-sized plastic particles into 203 degree Fahrenheit water, according to McGill University researchers. But with tea, there's an easy solution. Just stop using plastic bags. Switch over to loose leaf teas, or if you buy packaged tea, make sure they're in paper tea bags. As someone who cooks daily and uses salt on everything, I'm not happy to learn this. A study from 2015 revealed that 1 kilogram of sea salt can contain more than 600 microplastics. In fact, 90% of table salt brands sampled from around the world were shown to contain microplastics. You and I might actually be ingesting up to 2,000 bits of microplastics a year through salt consumption. If you want to limit your exposure to microplastics and salt, you might want to consider using rock salt. A study published in 2018 showed that different types of commercial salt samples had a range of microplastic content, with rock salt having the lowest upper range of microplastics per kilogram, lake salt coming in second, and sea salt leading the pack. Are you a fan of seafood? Then you might not be a fan of this next statistic. Mollusks such as mussels, oysters, and scallops have some of the highest recorded plastic levels. Studies have shown that mollusks can contain up to 10.5 microplastics per gram. Crustaceans such as crab, shrimp, and lobster can contain up to 8.6 microplastics, and fish like salmon and tuna can contain up to 2.9 microplastics per gram. If you want to avoid this much exposure, there are other options. For example, you could try to eat wild-caught salmon or mercury-free whitefish. There's no promise it will be plastic-free, but a 2018 study from a Canadian university suggests that they may be less contaminated with plastic. Sorry to keep bringing you bad news about beer, y'all. But not only is beer's taste being affected by climate change, it's also being polluted by microplastics. A study published in 2018 revealed that microplastics were found in 12 unnamed American beers that used water from the Great Lakes. On average, a liter of beer contained 4 particles of microplastic, but the worst brand contained roughly 4 particles per liter. Most of this plastic comes from the water supply used to process the beer. So if you want to avoid this, you would have to do your research and find out how your local brewery or favorite brand filters their water and beer. Our plastic consumption is so high that it's now polluting our waterways and oceans. So anything sourced from these waters will probably contain microplastics, including water itself, obviously. Researchers estimate that globally, there are 14 million tons of microplastic on the ocean floor. When it comes to drinking water, an investigation conducted in 2017 revealed that 83% of tap water samples from around the world contain plastic fibers. Bottled water isn't necessarily clear of microplastics either. In fact, 93% of popular bottled water brands were found to contain evidence of microplastic contamination. Researchers analyzed 259 bottles from around the world and found an average of 325 microplastic particles per liter of water. And what's the solution? Well, don't drink bottled water. Use a reusable bottle, like a glass mason jar, or an insulated bottle like this one. You will reduce the amount of plastic
But where you
overall.
gonna get the water
And
from?
if you have a filter for your bottle, faucet, or even pitcher, you'll further reduce the risk of plastic contamination. In doing research for this story, I found plastic is actually quite widespread within our food chain. This is just a small sample of where microplastics are found in our food systems. If we tried to cover them all, this video might never end. Like, I bet you wouldn't expect an apple to contain microplastics. This list is just a primer of some of the most common and shocking foods that most of us enjoy that contain microplastics. But the moral of the story here, though, is that industries are...
That's it on that. Play this last video. What food has the most pesticides? So you see, hey, we've been getting poisoned on a daily basis. We've been getting poisoned. So why be afraid of Esau's poisons? They've been poisoning us since birth, slowly killing us. Go ahead.
Hi guys, I'm back with another video on this question. What food has the most pesticide residue of all vegetables and fruit? Well, let's first talk about what is the least amount of pesticide. That would be the avocado. And did you realize there's over 34,500 pesticides in our foods? And those are all derived from about 600 different chemicals. So let's go right into the 12 foods that have the most pesticides. At number 12, we have the potato, okay? Number 11, celery. Then the tomato, pear, cherry, peach, grape, apple, nectarine, kale. Interesting, right? Spinach. And the number 1 food that has the most pesticide residue, strawberries. And I hate to break this to you, but when you try to wash the pesticide off the strawberry, it's already absorbed deeply into that strawberry, so it's not going to help. So if you're going to consume strawberries or a spinach or a kale, definitely go organic. Of course, you're not going to do nectarines and definitely not going to do apples or grapes or peaches or cherries or pears or potatoes. Just make sure these are all organic, so that way you're not exposed to these pesticides because it's the accumulated effect that creates the problem. Thanks for watching.
Damn. I'm telling you, hey, you can't, this is Esau's system. You are not going to escape that thing at all. Esau said, nah, we got this on lock. All right, so now let's see why we are not to be afraid of Esau's poisoning. Let's get Luke 17:5 and 6. Luke 17:5 and 6.
The book of Luke, chapter 17, verse 5. And the apostle said unto the Lord, increase our faith.
Increase our faith. Read on.
And the Lord said, if ye had faith as a grain of mustard seed, ye might say unto this sycamine tree, be thou plucked up by the root, and be thou planted in the sea, and it should obey you.
And that's actually a large amount of faith right there. Even though it said as a mustard seed, that's a lot of faith. So now let's get Hebrews 11:1. Let's see what faith is. So it said what? Pray for the increase of your faith.
The book of Hebrews, chapter 11, verse 1. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen.
So now that's another level. So you got to have faith on things that you can't see. Things hoped for, but you can't see it. So with some people, that's real difficult. They can't see something go from here to here, and how that process is, the faith is weak. They lack faith. So that's why I said what? What did Luke say? Increase the faith. They prayed for the increasing of their faith. So that way what? They can now believe on, because faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So now let's get into it. Let's get Psalms 28. Psalms chapter 28, verse 7. Let's start at verse 7. Let's read to 9.
Hey, Shalom Israel, Most High in Christ blessed. Deacon Abiel here. We are here in Kumasi, Ghana, and I am completely blown away. As you can see behind me, we have the new school. It's in construction. It's being built from the ground up. Everybody's putting a brick in, y'all. It's your turn.
Donate, donate, donate. As you can see where your money go. We're not pocketing your money. We're not driving expensive cars. We are doing the work Most High God put in our heart to do, just like in the book of Nehemiah.
You guys out there in all the countries watching, you've been the key to this taking place. Without your donations and your help, we wouldn't be where we're at now. Do you understand? The Lord says, as you know in Ezekiel, build sanctuaries. This is the first of many, Lord's will, that we're building.
Put your brick in. We need your donations. We need your help. As you all see, this right here is fulfillment of prophecy. The scripture says that this gospel of the kingdom is going to be preached unto the whole world as a witness unto all nations. And then shall the end come. What you see right here is fulfillment of prophecy. Put your brick in, twiddling your thumbs. Those of you all that's not here, ain't boots on the ground, you have a way to help.
Book of Psalms, chapter 28, verse 7. The Lord is my strength and my shield.
So now, do you believe that? Do you have faith in that? Read.
My heart trusted in him, and I am helped.
Oh, wait a minute. It says my heart does what?
Trusted in him.
And what?
I am helped.
Read.
Therefore, my heart greatly rejoiceth.
Because it trusts in the Lord and has faith that the Lord is his shield. Read.
And with my song will I praise him.
And when in his song, he'll praise the Lord. Read on.
The Lord is their strength, and he is the saving strength of his anointed.
Read.
Save thy people and bless thine inheritance. Feed them also and lift them up forever.
Forever. But yet, the question is with a lot of Jake, do you faith? Do you believe that thing? Do you trust in the Lord truly? Let's get, before I go to the next one, I want to get this precept on it. I got the precept Jeremiah 3 and 15. Let's get that, and then we won't come back. 3 and 15. Let's see.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 3.
No. Never mind. That's just pastors giving knowledge and understanding. So, let's continue. Let's get Proverbs 3. Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5. I want to read verse 5 through 8.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 5. Verses 5 through 8. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding.
So even in that verse right there, trust in the Lord with all thine heart. So in order for you to trust in the Lord with all thine heart, your faith must be great. It says, and lean not onto your own understanding. Because a lot of times when you may be in situations, you'll lean on your own understanding and not trust in the Lord because of the lack of faith. Read on.
In all thy ways acknowledge him.
In all your ways acknowledge him. In your prosperity acknowledge that you prospered because of the Most High. Even when, let's say, you might go through some affliction, be like, yes, Lord, the Lord is a just God. I went through this because I did this and this and that. Read.
And he shall direct thy paths.
Read on.
Be not wise in thine own eyes. Fear the Lord and depart from evil.
Read.
It shall be health to thy navel.
Ooh. Wait a minute. So now I don't need to fear Esau's poisons because of me doing what? It shall be health to thy navel. Believe you me, the reason why Israel's not killed off is because of the Lord. Like I said, they've been poisoning us since birth. It's because of the grace of the Most High that we still here today. So why should you fear his poisons? He's always poisoning you. That hasn't stopped. And he's going to continue doing that thing. All right, let's get that's it on that, right? Yeah, let's get I'm about to wrap this up. Let's get Deuteronomy 32. Deuteronomy 32 and 39. Because what I'm doing is I'm getting to the point. So we show all the reason why I showed all those videos is just to show you he's been poisoning you through medicines. He's been poisoning you through foods. He's continually poisoning you. So now what should we do to ensure longevity in life? All right, you got it?
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32, verse 39. See now that I, even I, am he, and there is no God with me. I kill and I make alive.
Right. So why should I fear Esau's poisons when it's the Most High God that kills and makes alive? And if I trust in him and direct my path aright and keep them commandments, I'm going to die according to the will of the Father, not according to the will of Esau. You see that thing? Yeah. Telling you that's why should I fear his poisonings? He been poisoning me for years. Hey. That's it. That's it on that.
I wound and I heal.
There you go. I heal. So guess what? Because I'm going to tell y'all, I've witnessed it. I've had brothers and sisters sick with cancers and all of that type of stuff, and they've been healed. But they keeping God's laws, statutes, and commandments, and it's truth. They obedient to the Father, and they have faith that the Most High will heal them and trust in the Lord. So I've seen brothers and sisters healed of ailments. So now read that again.
See now that I, even I, am he, and there is no God with me. I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal.
And I heal. So therefore, I don't fear Esau's poison at all.
Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand.
There you go. So if you die, it's of the will of the Father, not of the will of Esau, because he's been trying to kill us all for generations with all of his agendas and plans. Let's get Psalms 64. Psalm 64. We're going to read this whole chapter, bro. This whole chapter is right on point.
The book of Psalms, chapter 64. Hear my voice, O God, in my prayer. Preserve my life from fear of the enemy.
You see that? Preserve my life from the fear of my enemy. So who is our enemies but our oppressor? Esau and these other nations. It says, preserve my life from the enemies. Why? Because the enemies come against us with their secret plots to destroy us, to kill us, to wipe us out as a nation. Read.
Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked.
You see that thing? And we know that the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. It said, hide me from their secret counsel. Read on.
From the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, who whet their tongue like a sword.
So they speak against us. Read on.
And bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect.
That they might secretly plot to kill us off. Shoot at the perfect, which is Israel. Read.
Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not.
And they don't fear. They do all types of evil plans, and they don't have no fear of that thing. Read on.
They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privily.
Hey, you see that thing? Hey, we just watched the video where you had that dude from, he was some type of KKK dude in Congress, and he was trying to give our sisters that birth control thing in the damn, I think it was the 90s. Yeah. And it didn't pass, supposedly, but I don't know. That little thing looks like something they're using it today. The sisters put in their arm. It looked like the same thing. So, read on.
They say, who shall see them?
Who shall see them? You see that thing? They like this. Ain't nobody going to see us do this. Read on.
They search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search.
Yeah, Esau does a diligent search. Read on.
Both the inward thought of every one of them.
Damn, not just some of them. Read that.
Both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep.
They take deep thought. So you say Christ is black. Wait a minute. If Christ is black, they think 10 steps ahead. Like, whoa, wait a minute. What's going on here? That's why they say, oh, they're a hate group. That's why they say, oh no, they're a hate group. Nah, they're a hate group. All of them. All Esau. Why do you think Esau's so damn nosy? He want to see what you're doing, why you doing that, where you going. Like, goddamn, mind your damn business. What the hell? He want to see, look in your backyard, ask you questions. Oh, I noticed you came in with 2 bags. You know, damn. That's why. Because they do a diligent search. They nosy as hell. Like even during the time of Jim Crow and some of the early, even when they supposedly freed us from slavery, when men gathered together, they would say, oh no, there's too many of y'all Negroes gathered together. They got to see what you doing. What you doing? Why so many of y'all gathering? And even to this day, they still don't trust you. But that's because this your enemy. Esau is our enemy. He's not our friend. The Most High God set that thing up that way. All these nations are your enemies. Read on. Read on.
Psalm 64, verse 7. But God shall shoot at them with an arrow.
Uh-huh.
Suddenly shall they be wounded.
Mm-hmm. Read on.
So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves.
You see that thing? So why should I be afraid of Esau and his poison? Read on.
All that see them shall flee away.
Read.
And all men shall fear and shall declare the work of God, for they shall wisely consider of his doing.
Read.
The righteous shall be glad in the Lord.
You see that thing? The righteous, which are brothers and sisters that's keeping God's laws, shall be glad in the Lord. Read on.
And shall trust in him.
Shall trust in him. So now, how are we trusting in the Lord? Remember, we read on. Hide us from the counsel of the wicked that seek to destroy us. Read on.
And all the upright in heart shall glory.
Shall glory. All right. So now let's jump to Psalms 17. Start at verse 6. Psalms chapter 17, start at verse 6.
The book of Psalms chapter 17, verse 6. I have called upon thee, for thou wilt hear me, O God.
Mm-hmm.
Incline thine ear unto me.
In other words, listen to me, Lord. Read.
And hear my speech.
So once again, the same thing. Read on.
Show thy marvelous loving kindness, show thy marvelous loving kindness, O thou that savest by thy right hand them which put their trust in thee.
Come on, bruh. Read it right, man.
Show
got
thy
power. It's power in this thing right here.
Show thy marvelous loving kindness, O thou that savest by thy right hand them which put their trust in thee.
So now look at how important it is for you to have strong faith and trust in the Lord. Like, for example, I trust in the Lord that me being a servant, the Most High will keep me alive according to his will. I could have been dead a long time ago when I was a young teenager running up the streets in situations that I could have easily got murdered. But that wasn't the will of the Father. He had a purpose. So until my task is accomplished, I'ma still roll. Even though Esau is poisoning me every day with his medicines, with his foods. But I'm going to keep it moving until it's the Father's will that I pass. So, why should I fear Esau's poisons? Read on.
From those that rise up against them.
Read. Started from the top.
Verse 7. Show thy marvelous loving kindness, O thou that saveth by thy right hand them which put their trust in thee, from those that rise up against them.
Read.
Keep me as the apple of the eye. Hide me under the shadow of thy wings.
Hide me under the shadow of thy wings. Keep me as the apple of thy eye. Hide me. Read.
From the wicked that oppress me.
You see what he's hiding you from? The wicked that oppress you. Read on.
From my deadly enemies.
Deadly enemy. He's not a friendly enemy. This dude's been trying to kill you. Read.
who compass about me.
Who's around me. They all around me. Read on.
They are enclosed in their own fat. With their mouth, they speak proudly.
They are proud people. Read on.
They have now compassed us in our steps. They have set their eyes bowing down to the earth. Like as a lion that is greedy of his prey. And as it were a young lion lurking in secret places.
Read on.
Arise, O Lord. Disappoint him.
Disappoint them with their wicked plans. Read on.
Cast him down. Deliver my soul from the wicked.
Read.
Which is thy sword.
Which is thy sword. Because Esau is the Most High sword to punish Israel for being wicked and not keeping the commandments. Read.
From men which are thy hand, O Lord.
From
men of the world which have their portion in this life.
They have their portion in this life. Read on.
And whose belly thou fillest with thy hid treasure.
Because they are wealthy. This is their kingdom. Read on.
They are full of children.
And
leave the rest of their substance to their babes.
That's called what? Generational wealth. They pass it from generation to generation. Read on.
As for me, I will behold thy face in righteousness.
So look, even though Esau has all this wealth, it says, as for me, I shall behold thy faith in righteousness. What is that saying? By keeping the commandments and the faith in Christ, I shall behold thy face. Read on.
I shall be satisfied.
I shall be satisfied. Read.
When I awake.
With
thy likeness.
Dang, that joint said with thy likeness. That's talking about that regeneration. All right, so now let's go to, this is the last scripture right here, Matthew chapter 10 and 28, and I'm going to close it out. Because in this walk, I'm trying to tell y'all, brothers, you got to build your faith. Faith got to be strong. Because if your faith built up, you ain't going to budge. You become rooted in this truth. And if somebody come with a crazy doctrine, you're like, look, bro. That ain't gonna work.
The book of Matthew, chapter 10, verse 28. And fear not them which kill the body.
So I should not fear Esau's poisons, because Esau will kill the body. Read.
But are not able to kill the soul.
There you go. So my focus should be what? Building up my faith, trusting in the Lord, keeping his laws, statutes, and commandments. Right? Is that it on that?
No, sir.
Read.
But rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell.
Yep. So therefore, once again, like I said, don't fear Esau's poisoning. He been poisoning you. Your focus should be serving the Lord. Yeah, fear the Lord. Fear the Lord. Build your faith up. Trust in the Lord. Be his servant. And you're not going to pass only if it's according to the will of the Father. But you ran your course as long as you endure unto the end. And with that, I say shalom. You got something else? No, sir. All right. All praises.
We used to scream black power while Heron was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission. Minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold, from Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.